Members, this is very simple. I'm trying to add Tarrant County back into this because one of the things that I promised my constituents was that I was going to try and bring property tax reform and relief to them. And I believe one of the problems that we have right now is what Representative Guillen is trying to do for his county is make it easier, streamline the process, and frankly, be able to petition your government on a property tax appraisal raise by someone who is elected and not appointed.
Mr. Speaker.
So my amendment to the amendment simply will add Tarrant County into this bill and make sure that they have the ability to challenge their appraisal value to an elected official in the JP court.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Turner, for what purpose?
The gentleman yield for some questions.
The gentleman yield for questions.
I will yield for questions.
Gentleman yields.
All right, thank you, Representative Stickland. So your amendment puts Tarrant County into the bill.
Correct.
And have you spoken with any of the justices of the peace in Tarrant County this morning about your amendment?
I am aware of where the justices of the peace stand, but
Where
I am
more
aware of the 66% of Texans that were recently polled who said their property taxes
Where do our
are
justices
too high.
of the peace stand in Tarrant County?
They personally are against it because they don't want to do the work.
They oppose your amendment.
They do. However, I don't work for them. I work for the constituents of my House district who overwhelmingly desire property tax reform and relief.
I understand, Representative Stickland. So do you think that we are qualified to micromanage JP courts and put a triple, quadruple, quintuple the workload that they have already? We have some of the busiest JP courts in the state right now in Tarrant County handling truancy cases and a lot of, no, let me finish. And so have you, the fact that you wouldn't even go and talk to them and ask, is this something they could handle logistically? How can you bring this amendment when you haven't had that basic discussion to see if it's even feasible?
First of all,
in
Representative
our JP courts?
Turner, as you know, for 8 years I've served on the County Affairs Committee who works with Justice of the Peace. I'm very familiar with this issue. I'm familiar with their workload. I know this issue, okay?
All right.
And I know they don't want to do more work. But here's what I know. They're not going to have an increase in workload if these unelected bureaucrats at the appraisal district stop artificially raising people's evaluation. No one's going to go and protest their property taxes, and this won't be a problem. This is only a problem because in Tarrant County, folks like myself and my constituents have seen double-digit rises in their appraisal values and their property taxes skyrocket, and that's who I'm doing it for. And frankly, I don't care what the Justices of the Peace think about it.
Well, okay. Well, I'm sure all the justices of the peace in Tarrant County will be.
Representative, if you want to stand here and vote against your constituents' ability to protest their government,
I have other questions, Representative Stickland. How much will your amendment cost? How much will your amendment cost Tarrant County?
My amendment is going to cost Tarrant County more money if they continue to raise the appraisals artificially. And people want to protest.
I want to know how many millions of dollars will it cost the taxpayers
of Tarrant County? And you know that I don't know that. But let me tell you what I do know.
This process into JP courts.
There is a proper role of government, and people should have the right to petition their government and challenge an appraisal district. This makes it easier, and I don't care what it costs.
Let me ask you this, Representative Stickland. Is a JP court a court of record?
Representative Turner?
It's a yes or no.
Are you going to vote for this bill, Representative Turner? I think you are.
No, I get to ask the questions back here, Representative Stickland.
Well, that's fine. I don't have to answer it either. I don't want to play your gotcha political games. This is very simple.
No,
the gentleman will confine his remarks to the subject of the amendment to the amendment.
I want to know, is a JP court a court of record? Yes or no?
The question at hand today, Representative Turner.
You can't answer the question.
I don't want to answer your question.
Well, the answer is no. So either you know it's a no or you don't know, but the answer is no.
The question
so why would you bring this process into a court that is not a court of record?
Representative Turner, the question that you have to answer today is whether you're going to vote yes or no for your constituents in our county, Tarrant County, having more options.
I'll happily vote no on your. I'm going to vote no on your amendment.
And you know what I think is going to happen?
Cost Tarrant County millions of dollars that we don't have to spend.
I think what we are going to do is give our constituents in Tarrant County more options and allow them the ability to face an elected official who has accountability for the first time in regards to their crazy appraisals that have been coming down and growing government in this state.
I just can't believe you would bring this amendment without talking to a single
reform.
justice of the peace in Tarrant County before you did it.
Chair recognizes Mr. Guerin to speak against the amendment to the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Members, I've talked to our county judge. I've talked to several of the justices of the peace. The highest court load in Tarrant County is the JP courts. They're already overworked. This is going to cost Tarrant County, it's an unfunded mandate, between $5 and $10 million. And if we want to load up on them, and we're talking about property tax reform, and we're talking about limiting their ability to raise money. This is not the thing to do.
Speaker.
And I'm going to vote no on the amendment to the
Stickland,
amendment,
for
and I
what
hope that you'll
purpose?
support me in supporting Tarrant County and the
Speaker,
county
this
judge
gentleman
and the
yield for a
commissioners.
question.
Not at this time, Mr. Speaker.
Not at this time, Mr. Stickland.
And talking to the county commissioners, the county judge, and several of the JPs, they're very much opposed to this. They're already overloaded, and all this will do is increase workload that they're not even qualified to handle. They're not educated in property tax and how to value properties, and that I will yield to Mr. Stickland at this time.
Representative
Mr. Stickland,
Guerin,
the gentleman yields for questions.
you supported this amendment yesterday, correct?
Mr. Stickland, I did, and it was a mistake.
And it included Tarrant County.
Mr. Stickland, I said I did, and I made a mistake in supporting it.
And what was the mistake in it not being against it yesterday? What do you know today that you didn't know yesterday?
What it would cost Tarrant County and the workload that they're not able to handle.
So I understand that, but originally what motivated...
No, that was your question. I just answered it.
Yes. So is this fair to say, Representative Guerin, that yesterday you realized that this was going to be something that your constituents would care about and bring property tax reform?
No, Mr. Stickland, that's not right.
So you just voted for it because you thought it was nothing?
Mr. Stickland, I voted for it. I said I made a mistake, and I'm willing to admit the fact that I made a mistake, unlike you obviously.
Representative Guerin, the reason you think you made a mistake is because you found out about the cost, correct?
That's one of the reasons.
But you supported the measure in general with the people. If there was no cost, if there was money attached to this, would you vote to give people of Tarrant County the right to go down to the appraisal?
The cost was not the only reason, Mr. Stickland. The workload that the JPs have was one of the main reasons, and they're already overtaxed, overworked. And this would cause a property tax increase of about 1% in Tarrant County, Mr.
How is
Stickland.
that, Representative Guerin?
Because of the cost.
We have to raise property taxes 1%?
The cost to the county would cause the county to have to increase taxes by about a penny a hundred.
So you're trying to sell to this body that we have to raise property taxes 1% to cover the cost that you said might be between $5 and $10 million?
Yes, that's correct.
I disagree with that, Representative.
Well, I'm sorry. You can disagree all you want, Mr. Stickland. I mostly disagree with a lot of your stuff, too. But members, I'm going to ask you to support the elected officials in Tarrant County and vote no on the amendment to the amendment.